This is CRM Audio, the Microsoft Dynamics CRM podcast, with George Dubinsky, Joel Lindstrom, and Sean, the CRM Hobbit Tabor.
Are we going to talk any of Windows 10?
Yeah, has anybody?
Yeah.
Have any of you used it?
Yeah, I upgraded my.
Have you?
my
Why is it
tablet
past
the day
tense?
after.
Have you used it? I thought the
Yeah.
correct thing was, have you been using it?
Or have you
Oh,
been
yes.
using it? I have not been or have not used it yet,
The
other
Yeah.
than just playing with the virtual.
I've been using it for about a week now. So
I actually did a test for the pod.
Okay.
I subjected my wife to something for the pod. I upgraded her laptop, which is an older laptop,
Okay.
and had some interesting results that I can extrapolate to what we could do.
how old
with
is your
CRM.
laptop? I mean, let's compare the weakest one.
Her
Because
laptop
I've re-
is 5 years old.
No, I mean, technical speak. I mean,
Oh.
we're grown up years.
All right, it's
CPU, memory.
all right. It's 8 gig of RAM. What is that?
Whoa.
I think it's a
Uh,
4. Let me see. I gotta go look.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
let me see if you can top it up. A couple of days ago, I updated one of the client's employee. She was going away. She said she needs something to access remote desktop with. And I said, hey, look, I've got this tablet 2 lying around. It's actually, I like this tablet. It was
Is that
great.
the one with like 2 gigs of RAM?
Yeah, 2 gig of RAM. It's 1.6 Atom CPU.
Oh yeah, no, you win.
It's got like really nice pen, the touch
But
screen.
it's like a netbook in a
Yeah.
tablet. form.
Yeah, but what I did in the past, I bought a small docking station and a keyboard, a portable keyboard. It's actually quite nice, right? Until I got the Surface. I've been using it like for doodling and handwriting and things like that, reading stuff. And I decided, hey, I'll give it a shot. You know what? It's faster and better now than it's ever been. And it's more usable now, much more usable. I had some problems connecting Bluetooth keyboard, but once I passed this hurdle, it's just really good experience. So,
Okay.
and it works fine. It's faster than a Windows 8 being on it. So it's actually a good experience. I can tell you about the horror experience. Or imagine that I've got like 24-inch screen, and I've got my Surface sitting in the docking station. For those of you who use Surface, I can't recommend enough, get yourself a docking station. It's like whatever it costs, $200, I don't remember, but best $200 ever spent. You dock, you've got like 5 USB ports. It's just great, right? So anyway, and I'm upgrading, and I started upgrade. I didn't even know how long did it take. I walked away, and I come back, and it's all done. And then I go in, and my monitor pitch black, and I go on the Surface, and it tells me, right, so here's your Windows 10. I'm saying, okay, connects, Windows P, second monitor, and says, you don't have a second monitor. I'm saying, well, what do you mean I don't have a second monitor? Here it is, right? It's plugged in, and okay, bring resolution down because it's like very, very high res. So, and I go in, display settings, and it shows me like 2,000 pixels, and it won't bring it down. Just the slider is disabled. So what's going on? It's like usually you can't get, default VGA, 480 by 640. Here's the opposite is true. It's like pegged itself to the highest possible resolution and refuses to go down. I can't read a thing on this screen. Well, turns out, I need to be patient enough. Like 2 minutes later, the driver update kicked in, like say, oh, I've got driver to update, blah, blah, blah. And just impatient. So with Windows 10, sometimes it's about patience. Let the system scan, do the work, find the driver, find the update. So let it sort of simmer, like a good curry. Let it simmer for an hour or so in its own juices.
Okay. I did the reserve of the upgrade on my Surface.
Yeah.
And on my wife's computer.
How long did it take you to get that? I just did that on one of my old computers day before yesterday, and I haven't been prompted to get it yet.
Well, it was funny because it happened while I was on vacation. So I had my Surface with me, and I was on hotel Wi-Fi. So it took about 5 hours to download. But on my home laptop, my wife's laptop, when I got back, it took about 45 minutes to download and install. It was pretty quick.
Yeah. That's really fast. But I think, Joe, your question is how long does it take to get a notification of the upgrade, right?
Right. After you.
It happened. It happened right away on the 29th.
Okay.
Because you reserved, but if you don't reserve,
yeah, because I reserved.
I didn't reserve for my little tablet 2, Lenovo tablet 2. I didn't reserve, and I needed to upgrade like now. There is a cheat. There is a shortcut. You don't remember. I mean, obviously you can Bing it and find it, but there is a cheat. So you download a 12 meg application and you run it, and it's deceiving. It doesn't say upgrade. It says something else. You download and you run it, and it actually prompts you to upgrade. So, and then you say upgrade, and it just goes straight into upgrade without the waiting. So, and from that moment, it took about on decent internet. It took about a couple hours. A couple hours to download and upgrade. So, on 1.6, 2 gig of RAM. Teeny weeny tablet, so it's a good result.
So, Sean, you said you ran an experiment for the podcast. What was your experiment you ran?
My experiment was, would Windows 10, could it conceivably help a CRM user who is not familiar with CRM acclimate better? And while I'm not running CRM in my house, my wife is not technologically, a wonderkind. She's competent, but just for the basics. So I wanted to install Windows 10 and introduce her to Cortana and have her do some of the things that you would do with Cortana as a CRM user and see what her reaction was, whether it was good, bad, or indifferent. So once it got installed, I showed her Cortana. She thought it was neat that the news popped up and it gave her certain interests. And she was wondering how Cortana came up with those interests. And I showed her, the little notebook and how you can add those things. And she liked that. Then I said, well, go ahead and you can use your microphone. You have a microphone on your laptop. And I said, you can click the little microphone icon and actually tell your computer to do stuff. And I told her she was going to open a program. I told her, well, click the icon, tell Cortana to open the program. And it worked very well, which I was shocked because I don't have a Windows phone with Cortana. And then I had her send an email. And she was able to, dictate the entire email subject and everything with the right contact and everything and send it. Then I asked her what she thought about that. And would she use it if it was at work? Now, she's a kindergarten teacher. So obviously she said, no, I don't think I'd use this at work because the kids would think, I'm crazy. Or they'd want to start talking to the computer and it would, it'd never end. She goes, but it was very helpful in being able to do certain things quickly, because she has all these little notes all over the place to make sure she remembers how to do stuff. So I was thinking in the training plan for CRM, if you worked out a script of commands for Cortana that were CRM focused and business process related, you really could streamline the novice business user a good chunk of their basic tasks. Not taking into account some serious, customization where we're going completely off script on how you would use CRM in a different UI and that sort of thing. But, being able to track an email, track an appointment, being able to add a note, launch a contact, things of that nature. You could do that either through voice or easily or very fast within the Cortana search interface. I'm sure it'll be a little bit of time before we start having clients with full deployments of Windows 10. But I think it's an interesting thing that we should, as CRM consultants and architects, we should really start looking at, because how you could leverage that power for that novice user can really reduce the barriers to entry, and also it could reduce how much you spend on training, which I think is important. Also, with the Cortana apps coming to the other platforms, I'm assuming it won't be as fully featured as it is in Windows Phone, but having those similar kind of commands that you can cross-platform, I think will also really benefit the customers. It was one of those things where I thought, do I think everybody's going to start talking to their computer? Probably not. But if their main work PC is a tablet, I can see them doing something like that, or simply using the Cortana search bar.
Well, I find voice dictation to be a great way to put in notes or things like that. And even I'm getting to where if I have a long email to type to somebody, I'll voice dictate it because it's a lot. I can do it faster. But I find that voice dictation works only for me when I'm not surrounded by other people. Voice dictation, when you're around other people, gets distracting to them and or makes them think you're crazy. And you're also letting everybody know what you're typing. So right. I've done it walking down the street before, but I get weird looks. So, I mean, I think it's great if you're by yourself, if you're sitting in your car waiting to go somewhere and you want to quickly update something. I think launching apps, is a good proven use case. I mean, my daughter on starting Netflix on the iPad, she doesn't tap it. She hits Siri and says, "Start Netflix."
Yeah, and that's why I also mentioned the Cortana search bar. You can get to everywhere you need to get. In a way, to me, it replaces the method of potentially saving shortcuts to pages on your desktop and cluttering your desktop. So if you want to go to a certain account or a certain contact or a certain list, you can do that with Cortana. There's a lot of power there, and I think if you incorporate it into an overall training plan as a method for them to get accustomed to the vernacular, how to get within the areas of the application, they may in time stop using that. I think it's a way to reduce the barrier to entry for some of the more stoic users, I'd say.
Couple of questions. I have not used it yet, but I just, out of curiosity, I went to the settings, and it looks interesting because it has a checkbox: use speech patterns for non-native speakers of this language.
Right.
Which is me. I wonder, what does it mean?
I think it means
skipping all the articles because we don't have concept of articles in my mother tongue. So
Means there's one guy at
just keep it
Microsoft who sounds like you, George, and they had him like record a bunch of stuff.
Right.
But it's all about understanding. It's not her talking to me with an accent. It's
No,
her
it's
understanding.
yes, her understanding you. Yeah.
It would be like on the old Mission Impossible TV show when they would go to Bulgaria or someplace. They wouldn't speak that language. They would still speak English, but they would have an accent while they were there.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wonder what's up with that. I mean, they suddenly, everyone, and including, Tom Cruise and what's not, suddenly everyone speaks with an accent.
Exactly.
Like
But
Boris
the other
and
thing,
they all sound like Boris and Natasha
yeah,
from Bullwinkle.
I wonder if you can have a private vocabulary with Cortana. So, Joel, you can train her, or on your computer, you can train Cortana. Every time you say Salesforce, she would type Dynamic CRM.
Yeah.
I bet you can because they've all got this word replace thing. And before the Windows Phone version of Cortana had the CRM integration, Cortana could not understand CRM. You would say CRM and you'd either get like a serum, SERUM, or see them, or something like that. And even now, if I'm on a Windows Phone voice dictating like a text message about CRM, it usually does that. But when you're launching the app, when you say start CRM or start Dynamic CRM, I think it knows to look for that. So have you tried telling Cortana CRM on Windows 10, and what does she do, Sean?
I don't have CRM installed on my Surface, so I haven't done it yet.
Okay, but I mean, if you're just voice dictate an email and talk about CRM, which again in our line of work we do quite frequently. I found it very, very frustrating because I would be trying to voice dictate an update on the CRM implementation, and it would come out the see them implementation.
Well, I used voice dictation on the Surface before Cortana, and it worked pretty well. Better than the iPad, for me anyway.
I can't help you guys. Cortana isn't supported in the region and language you've selected. Australian.
So just last quick question on Windows 10. Has anyone changed what she calls you? I guess this is just for Joel, because since you don't have Cortana yet, George.
No, what I do is both in Siri and Cortana, if I find one of my friends has left their phone laying around, I will tell it to call them something else, like call me grandma or something.
Okay.
And so it'll pop up and say, "Grandma, you're late for your appointment."
Okay, because I didn't have mine call me Mr. Stark or anything, so that's good. I'm glad no one else does that.
I also like to play with and this is specific to iPhones, but play with the text replacement feature. If your buddies ever leave their phones laying around, there's a lot of great things you can do. But one of the things you can do is go in and add additional text replacement. Like I put in a text replacement for the word the and change it to horse. And so every time they typed the, it typed horse. It was hilarious. I'm going to the store. Change it to I'm going to horse store.
Actually, the lesson isn't that there's more text replacement options on Apple and Windows Phone. It's don't leave your phone unlocked when you're with Joel. That's the lesson.
Yes.
That's the lesson.
Yes. So my question I had, though, is specific to CRM, since we are CRM Audio, the CRM podcast.
Yes.
Have you found any glitches or quirks working or configuring CRM with Edge browser?
I haven't found any problems with Edge browser, but I switched away from using it as default browser for multiple reasons. It's not about the browser itself, but these days it's also about other things that go along with your browser, like different plugins and different applications and your shortcuts. What Edge browser, what it's missing for me, I use Firefox. Currently, Firefox is my default browser. and I have a number of things. LastPass is the one that I definitely must have. And then I use other applications like Bitly shortcut. Then I use Pushbullet, which basically sends a snippet to a directly to a mobile phone. I use a couple other things. So that's one that I use to some certain things. And the other thing, it synchronizes my shortcuts. What I find annoying, I can't pin tabs. I found this feature for some reason. I no longer can live without this feature. I have to be able to pin tabs.
So every time you open your browser, you've got the same tabs open?
No, they are pinned. They're always there.
That's what I mean.
Even if I close them.
Yeah, they're always the same.
Yeah. I've got, like, I can list them. I've got, Slack. I've got CRM tip of the day. I've got Toggle. I've got Workflowy. I have Zero, which is accountant. So things I go in and out all the time. So I'd love that. And so to me,
so if it's open, when you open the Edge browser, you want to see a certain number of sites. You can do that. You can set it to launch with a certain set of pages.
There is a difference between set of tabs and pinned tabs. So
okay,
but anyway,
so
it's
I get you. I wanted to make sure I had that clarified. So,
yeah, in theory I could. There are workarounds, but they are workarounds, and some things I find. Look, I use interchangeably. I've got four browsers now, so I use them interchangeably. Primary browser is Firefox. And then I use Google for some apps. Like, for example, I use in Chrome, I use apps. I use, for example, apps to merge PDFs or do some diagramming and things like that, or Mockflow. And now I remember why I'm so upset with Windows 10. Twitter client, that is used to be multi-client, so I could configure multiple accounts. Twitter client is no longer multi-account.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that Twitter's fault or Microsoft's?
Twitter. They updated the app.
Are they trying to get people to go through the browser more, or what?
I have no idea what they're trying to do, but what they achieved is they really pissed me off. So.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. But yeah, you're right. Because the iPad client, you can still do the multi.
You know what's the weirdest part is? The weirdest part is still somewhere deep down, it still remembers the old accounts because I still receive the pop-up notifications about other accounts.
It's just teasing you, taunting you.
Yeah, it's just
hey, remember when we could do this?
Yeah, so I'm really, and the option is either that or there is a paid app. It's not about money. I mean, it's like $3, but I just wonder why did they do it?
Make more money.
Probably, yeah, it's probably like one. I'm in 1 percentile or whatever.
Well,
1% of users who's got more than one Twitter account.
I'm a little bit browser frustrated right now because I have found with the latest update, we got upgraded to 2015 update 1 about a week and a half ago, and I've also been working with it a lot for a client project I'm working on. And what I'm finding is it is impossible as a CRM configurator or customizer to use only one browser with CRM now, because there are certain things with the latest update. I've tried multiple computers, multiple environments. You cannot drag and drop fields and tabs and sections with update 1 with Internet Explorer. It just doesn't work. So I've got to switch over to Firefox and Chrome. And then there's certain things, though, like relationship mapping, that only works in Internet Explorer. So, we just got to keep doing this browser switch thing, which is very frustrating. I can do most of it in Firefox or Chrome, but then if I have to change the relationship mapping or something that doesn't work well there, I have to switch back. So that's been a little bit frustrating. I've got used to it, but it's just a little bit frustrating.
I when you started saying that, I was thinking, is that true? And I realized when you said I got used to it that, yeah, I've actually gotten used to it. So, yeah, you're right. I didn't even think of it. That is bizarre. just how when you get frustrated to do something, you just know it's like mental memory. You just muscle memory rather. You just okay, wow.
But the thing, okay, but here's the thing that I'm really happy about, and that is I have with the new functionality for doing folder-based tracking with 2015, where you can basically create folders in your Exchange or Outlook and link them to an account or any record in CRM, and server-side sync will track those emails. I've been using that for about a week and a half, and I gotta say I really like that because for one thing, it fits very closely to how I use Outlook. And we've talked before, like everybody probably has a little bit different way they use email and Outlook. But for me, I've learned through experience that if I leave things in the main inbox, I miss them. There's a huge flood of emails, and I will always miss things. So what I do is when I get an email about once every day or two, I go through my email and I read it. If it's something I can just delete, I delete it. If not, though, if it's related to a project I'm working on, I have a folder I drag to that folder. Acme Industries, I have a folder for Acme that I drag it to. And that because I want to be able to find that email quickly, but I don't want it to stay in the main inbox. Folder tracking works great with that because I can link them to the accounts I have for those, or projects or opportunities or what have you, and have them instantly track them. So it's kind of like the set it and forget it option. And I also remove the Outlook client just to see, can I live, without the Outlook client and still track stuff and still value. And I gotta say, it's been a great experience. My Outlook is significantly faster. It starts up, I can do stuff right away. I have not missed the Outlook client. There's some functionality like the view an Outlook button or the convert button. If you needed those, it probably wouldn't be a great fit. But for me, what I do, it works great.
Question: have you found that the folder limit is limiting, I suppose? What's the best word? Like you can do, what's the limit? Is it 20 or 10? Is it 10 or 20?
I've got more than 10. I don't remember what the limit is. No, I won't say that I have found it because I'm working or somewhat involved in probably 15 different projects, so I haven't found that to be extremely limiting. I can see if somebody.
No, but what I'm saying is once you set up for client A and then you come to the client number 21 or whatever, it's like W. Then for this client, to enable it for this client, you have to disable for one of the existing other clients, right? You have to move this. You have to watch. Obviously, it's clear to me that you, Joel, didn't watch our video on CRM tip of the day about folder track and administration.
I did watch that. That helped me set it up. But so no, I'm aware of the limit, but I am within
how
the
you
limit.
Manage it. How
I manage it is first of all, I've got a generic track folder that's not linked to any specific record. That's for my minor miscellaneous tracking, or people in my company email me, or I get an email from HR about the insurance plan or something like that. That's what I use for that, where it's equivalent of just seeing the track button. And then I've got specific for my major projects that I'm working on. I've got specific folders created for those. When my engagement with those projects ends, or my active engagement with it ends, I delete the folder, and I will then link to another folder.
So
Okay.
yeah, I'm with you that if I needed 500 of them, it may not be a great fit. That's where something like the preview app for OA may be a good fit there. I think that's a good option too. What I like about the folder tracking more than the OA app, though, is the OA app is a one-at-a-time track thing. It's, you go there and you see the dynamic CRM link, you hit it, you choose regarding. It's equivalent of working one at a time. That's not how I work, though. I work with, cleaning up my inbox in bulk. So at the end of the day,
you choose to ignore emails in batches.
only from you, George. But no, I read my emails, when I'm on the go. But I've been able to keep my mail much lower or my buildup of on-track mail, because before I would have to wait until I got in front of my computer. If I only had my phone, I couldn't do anything. Now I read it on my phone. I move to the folder. It's great. And what's become clear to me is, and which I think is great, is it's not a one solution for everybody's scenario. It's becoming clear that there are several different use cases that we have an answer for. For example, if you are John in accounting who always works from the same desk, from the same computer, there's some real benefits to the Outlook client and even Outlook synchronization, because being able to track it and have it immediately tracked, and being able to track something and convert it to something else like a case, that works great. And I think that would be great. But for somebody who is say 50% in the office, and 50% on the road, or 25% of the time only working from their phone, the Outlook client isn't a great fit, because there's going to be a large percentage of the time where they're not going to be able to track stuff. And that's where I think the folder tracking and or the Outlook app, and that's just talking to this has brought some ideas to my mind. Like the combination of the Outlook app and folder tracking is intriguing to me, because if I had folders set up for my top 15, 20 accounts, and many people get, at least for a time, I'll get the bulk of my email regarding, say 10 to 20 different companies or projects. And then we have the O app, so we can track the outliers. I think that can be a workable solution.
Yeah, I tend to agree that there's no one size fits all, and it just reminds me that on some projects, Outlook integration sometimes is used not so much for tracking emails as for synchronization purposes.
Mm-hmm.
And on one of the projects, we did quite an interesting thing. I thought maybe I'll even do a tip of the day on this one, but client expressed a very interesting requirement. She said that I'd like to have contacts synchronized for me, those that we're actively dealing with. Then we got into definition, what's the active client, and it was something like, okay, active client is the client we had correspondence within last 90 days, right?
Okay.
And they had like about 20,000 clients or something like that, and she said, I don't want all of them. I don't want my clients, because she wouldn't own any of the records. Salespeople would have ownership.
Mm-hmm.
How do you select? So we set up a system where we would mark the client when we receive, when there is interaction with the client. The client is a party to the activity. We would set a flag on the client, say date, time of the last communication, and then we would use that in the filter. So, and we would bring synchronized clients from the past 90 days. So if someone sends you email, say, hey, Joe, long time no see, bang, this person ends up in your synchronization list.
That's one of my favorite uses as well of the calculated fields now. I've done like that last activity date field that way, and that's a very clean way to do it. Did you find in that scenario, though, when the people fell out of that filter, they were dependably removed from people's contacts?
No, they're not. We did warn about it. They're not, that things don't get deleted. not quite.
Because that logic of when things get deleted and when they don't, that's something that rocket scientists shudder at.
Yeah, it's. But she knew that, so she
Okay.
knew that. And it was more important, like, to have a manageable set. So she would
gotcha.
have something like, a couple hundred clients, and the list would slowly grow over a period of time, but she doesn't need to think who's in, who's out, and what's not, right? So it just grows, and then by the time it grows to unmanageable, it's time for the reinstallation of the office. Here you go, clean slate again. So
Right.
it's kind of.
But
Shall we talk about acquisitions?
Yeah, let's talk about the acquisitions. We have what, an acquisition every other day now?
Pretty
I
much.
think every week, definitely. So what's the latest lineup? So we had Field 1 in sales, mobile sales force, or whatever you call it.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have fantasy sales team.
For
not sure.
Gamification.
Yeah, not sure if it has anything to do with fantasy football or anything like that.
When they set that up, I started having a fantasy football type draft with my salespeople. Saying I'll take Landy. I heard certain Europeans complaining that it was football and baseball centric, but I've since learned they do have a soccer template too.
I see. And the other one, which is not dynamic specific, was DataZen, which is quite great addition to a Power BI.
Right.
It's about setting up Power BI and rendering it on any device possible, from one source. But to me, the challenge now is that we have 6 months CRM releases, 6 monthly or semi-annually CRM releases that we barely can keep up with. We now, particular ISVs are currently, they just screaming because the pain is huge. They have to support 5 or 6 releases on all the different permutations of those releases. On top of that, there are beta programs going on for the next release and so forth. And now we have these. So now we barely sort of caught our breath after integrating with, after bringing in MDM and MSC, social engagement,
right,
and Yammer. And now we have this, Field 1 and what's not.
Sure.
Where it's going to end. Is it the end of the core CRM development?
Well, I think I see, definitely I'm with you that it just, you kind of want to throw your hands up and say, I can't keep up with all this stuff. And I think there is no way to keep up with all of it. So you kind of got to pick your focus. And, some of these things are clearer than others. I mean, and I see certain things like Parature, like Dynamics Marketing, which are clearly, functionality that is core in CRM may be kind of weak, and there may be functionality replacements or enhancements for those areas. Then you've got these point solutions that are, like the fantasy sales team. That's not a replacement for anything that's in CRM. That's something extra. Also, like Field 1 is a very specific field service solution, but if you're not doing field service, it's probably not something that you're going to get into. It's kind of, though, it puts me back, in 2009, 2010, when we saw competitors of Microsoft, Google, Salesforce. Whenever there was a big acquisition, it would always be them and never Microsoft. We always asked, why can't Microsoft buy this cool stuff? And now it's like we're in the opposite, which is which is good. I mean, there was an announcement that Microsoft has just invested in Informatica. So it's just so many things so fast. But my approach to it is kind of, I pick my focus. I've got certain things. Still CRM is my core focus. I have the things that are most closely related to CRM, like Dynamics Marketing and Parature, is where I put my focus. But that's one of the reasons why I haven't done that much with social engagement, aka NetBreeze, because I know what it does, I know what it's good for, but because of the focus of, and also the thought always comes to my mind, there's so much work yet to be done with like CRM integration to Yammer, additional stuff with Dynamics Marketing and Parature, that we're going to bring these other things on too, and how are we going to get a consistent platform. Given that we have an acquisition every other week, I thought it'd be fun if we did our predictions about what we think the next acquisition should be. And I don't want to go broad and say all Microsoft, but say something related to Dynamics. But say the next announcement Bob Stutz is going to make. Let's predict what we think that will be. And
I'll go first.
Wait, we got to talk about what does the winner get?
Oh, that's right.
I think I'm not going to bet any money or anything, but I thought what we could do is whoever is the closest to that, as determined by 2 out of 3 members of the CRM Audio podcast, we could say the other, whoever is determined to be the closest, the other 2 people have to tweet out that person knows more about hashtag MSDYNCRM than I do.
Than both of us combined.
Yeah, what do you think? Sean, what do you think?
And kiss the shoe when we see each other next, right?
Absolutely.
I reckon that resource management, I'm not familiar with any kind of applications in resource management area, but I reckon resource management would be brought in.
Now, when you say resource management, you need to define what you mean.
Like the stuff that's been around from CRM 3 days, CRM service, resource management.
Does Field 1 do any of that, though? I mean,
they do, they do it on top of CRM. I'm talking about native capabilities, and I reckon that, scheduling resources and scheduling services and doing proper resource management and calendaring, get it up to speed to 21st century, so to speak, because I don't know when it was done. CRM 3 was the last update we've seen to that area in CRM. So it would be good to get some refreshment there. And I reckon that resource management could be the area of the next acquisition.
Okay, so we'll get George down for resource management. I'm going to go a different direction, and I'm speaking with no actual knowledge here, but I'm going to go with quote and order configuration, something like Explorlogics-ish.
Interesting.
Would be an interesting thing, and something that there are some very good players in the market for, and something that CRM is very weak at, fairly weak, comparing the out-of-the-box product catalog to something like that. So I'm going to go with quote and order configuration.
Okay.
We'll probably both be wrong.
I think I'm going to go with, I think it's going to be something more behind the cover, or under the covers. I'm going to go something that improves workflow and automation and has some kind of visual component. So
something like a K2 kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Three good ways they could go. We'll probably all be wrong, but
yeah.
Okay, so you both are good with the reward that the 2 losing members will tweet that the winning member knows more about CRM than they do.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay, we're done.
This has been CRM Audio, the Microsoft Dynamics CRM podcast. You can hear previous episodes on our website, crm.audio. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, follow us on Twitter at CRM Audio, or leave us a comment on our Facebook page, facebook.com/CRM podcast. If you have any topic suggestions or questions that you would like for us to answer on a future episode, please drop us an email at voice@crm.audio. Special thanks to Dale Simmons for our theme music. Go check out his website, dalesimmons.com. Please join us next time on CRM Audio.